Look what he says. He says, what strength do I have? What else is left in me that I should hope? Everything that has happened to me, everything that's taking place with me, and I lost all my children, I lost my livestock. My wife and told me to curse God and die. And now I'm stricken with this illness that I have. And now you three friends have come, and you're supposed to have come to encourage me, but I'm receiving criticism from you. He says, what else do I have? Have you ever been there? Well, you are just what is called spiritually, emotionally spent. What else do I have? What do you want me to do? That I should have hope. Is my strength the strength of stones? And here goes these cliches that a man is not supposed to cry. You need to be hard as a rock. All these wonderful phraseologies that we have coined throughout the years and past generations. Job is saying, I'm tired of being a rock now. I want somebody else to be a rock for me. Oh, is my flesh bronze? He's literally saying, I'm just flesh. I like the way David puts it. He says, he knoweth our frame, and he realized that we are just dirt. At the end of the day, all we are is just dirt. Or my flesh bronze, is my help not within me? Is that all I got right now is me, and it's not much left. Each of you all, as men, as young men, as elderly statesmen, sometimes you give yourself so much to a situation that I've concluded in my own life oftentimes that the very thing that you want for someone else, they don't want for themselves. I spent years hoping. I'm from Texas. I played football. I was pretty good back then. Tyson put it in his bio of me. He says, now just watch it now. I just watch. And that's true. I just watch it now. But growing up in Texas, you play football, Billy. You from Texas. That's what you did, So when I had two sons, I was just ecstatic about it. I got me some football players. Not football players. I got basketball players. I come to the fraternity wall with a football in my hand. I'm ready. No, I was just overjoyed. Do you not know my son, neither one of them had no interest. Just uncoordinated, clumsy. And I tried, Kevin. I tried to get them involved. But Poke KJ, he was just so uncoordinated, he couldn't even dance. I said, boy, you on the black boy? I know they can't dance. I can't dance a lick, and I was trying to teach him. Just do a two-step. Just two steps. And I finally realized that the very thing that I wanted for him, KJ, the very thing I wanted for Kendrick, they didn't want for themselves. I had to let that go. I had to let it go throughout the period of times of me dealing with them as a father, as a preacher, when they got of age and didn't want to come to worship. I had finally concluded it. I got my mind wrapped around it where I finally told my son, listen, okay, you know what? We're going to become enemies because I don't like how you are right now. So for us to have a relationship, I'm not going to ask you to come to worship. I ain't gonna beg you to come to worship. I said, do me a favor. Don't tell me you're going to worship with me. Don't set me up to be angry with you. So I broke that off. I don't beg my sons. They're grown and gone right now. But I don't beg them. I don't even ask them. They know the truth. And I had to realize that the very thing that I wanted for them at that time, at that space and time, they did not want it for themselves. It's a reality you have to come to terms with. Is not my help within me, and is success driven for me? He's asking some real questions. Job was simply saying, today I don't feel like being strong. I just don't feel like it. When we feel When life pushes us and pulls you and I as men to a breaking point, there are some things that you need to understand. These are the natural things of life, or the extremities of life. It is in that moment that you don't feel like being strong. How do I deal with the point without feeling guilty and not doing something? And my sons have had different challenges, and in circumstances I did do certain things that I should not have done, because all I did was, Brother Davis, enable them. Now, as a man, you all understand that, but a mother, she don't care. Come on. She don't care. She don't care. At the end of the day, when you say, I ain't going to get him, you be ready for some sleepless nights. I'm not going. I'm not going to do this. You mean to tell me I'm not going to do it? There are times when you've just got to take that position, no matter what. Because if you don't, you continue to push the line of boundaries beyond the principles that you can live with. That you can live with. And I don't know about you, I want to live with myself. It's in that moment that you got to make a decision that, you know what, today I'm not going to be strong. I'm not going to be strong. I'm going to be a human. I'm going to be James, and I'm just not going to do certain things. You don't want to be empowering. You need power. Instead of you being a cheerleader, 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? You need somebody to cheerleader for you. Come on, you get tired. How many of y'all get tired of being a cheerleader, the motivator? Come on, let's go. Yeah, come on, let's go. We're going to do this. Oh, you think of where we're going to go on vacation. I'm tired of thinking of it. Don't ask me what we want to eat today. Just cook it. I'm serious. Don't ask me that question no more. And I've been married going on 36 years. You get to a point, some of y'all know, you can just say certain things. You don't mean no harm. You ain't trying to hurt nobody's feeling. Look, this is what it is. Whatever you cook, I eat. Just do it in 15 words or less. Don't be explaining to me. No, I'm serious. Y'all know what I'm talking about, brother. Let's get real with this. Just don't do that. You get to a certain point that you should have open communication. I'm not talking about open marriage. I'm talking about open communication. I know y'all ready for me to go back to the Bay Area. I see that now. You don't feel like being the cheerleader no more. You're all out of cheers. Oh. How many of y'all in here, some days you just don't even feel like talking? Just get up out of bed, leave me alone, don't say nothing. Drag your drawers on in the kitchen. You know, come on. I don't want to talk. And I don't sometimes. I've gotten to the point, I'm telling you, learn some young man. I don't even say nothing. She knows it. That I just got a lot on my mind. I'm thinking, I'm processing. What am I doing? I'm not mad. Just let me get the cobwebs out before you start chattering about certain things. Let me get out. Let me just get things in order in my mind. Because if you don't, your whole disposition with your family will just be all imbalanced. So just leave me alone. Give me some space. These things are important. You're tired of sin, please. Come on. We can do this. Why do you feel like that? You just say, you know what, I don't even care. Do whatever you want to do. Literally. And mean it. Now, how many of y'all really understand how to say, I don't even care, without having a disposition or an attitude? That's a challenge, isn't it? Learn it. Learn it. It takes time. But you teach individuals, again, how you want to be treated. So there are certain things that you do that she may do. And usually it would provoke a trigger, a response. Don't even say nothing. Okay. and go on in there and do what you're doing. About 10 minutes later, she's coming in there. What? I told you, I really don't care. Ain't nothing. Well, are you upset? No. Are you mad? No. Did I do something? No. I just really don't care. It's not really registering on the Richter scale of me caring. Do I love you? Absolutely, I love you. But do I care about something like, no. No. I don't even care. Not today, I don't. Not tomorrow, I may comment about it. But you're not going to provoke anything for me that's going to upset. Now, y'all got to understand, I had to learn this because I have heart issues. I've had 3 heart attacks and a triple bypass surgery. So I'm taking care of James. Now, that may sound selfish. No, that's what I call self-preservation. I'm taking care of me because let me tell you something. We have what is called code honor at school. And on one of the code honors, you know, I completely have defied, and it says the kids come first. And I told our clinician therapist who's in charge of us as a behavior specialist, I said, listen, let me tell you something right now. The kids don't come first. I come first. I said, if I take care of me, trust me, the kids going to be taken care of. And she didn't understand that for the first 2 years. She said, Mr. Austin, you need to change your philosophy about that. I said, I'm not changing my philosophy. Trust me, if I take care of me, if I get my rest, if I learn how to walk away, when I learned that I didn't write this book, that I'm just editing this psychological issue of this child, that it's not my fault, that these things have happened to them, and I'm not getting hung up behind because they are this and that, and I'm not taking my problems home. Trust me, I'm doing this child a favor. I'm taking care of me first, and if I take care of me, I can take care of them. Learn to take care of yourself as men. I'm serious about that. Because when you as a man is balanced in your life as a man, spiritually, physically, psychologically, emotionally, trust me, your home will be a safe haven for productivity. You are first. Because if you take care of you, how many of y'all have been on a plane where the stewardess will tell you, you know, put the oxygen mask on you first, and then your children? For a long time, it took me a while to understand why. You take care of you, you can save your child, but you got to save yourself first. And many of us as men don't know how to do that. We're givers, or we're taking things all the time. And then when something happens, we blow up, and it's out of control. Today, I just don't feel like being strong. Not for you, not for me, and not even for nobody. That may come across, you know, when you say something like this as being very cold. No, you just going to just let things be. And if God says the same, you wake up tomorrow, you approach it from a different perspective. But today, I'm not going to let it just run me out of my mind. Like Job, you could be in grief. I know Job was going through some grief. Psychologists tell us that there are 5 stages of grief. You may want to write this down. Job said, what strength do I have that I should have hope? Is my strength the strength of stones? So I know for a fact, psychologically, he is in grief. The stage of grief is the cycle of emotions that are the results from some type of loss. Job is a classic case of that. The loss of job could be that, cause grief. The loss of friends, loved one, the loss of something physical from your body. Even a pet can cause grief. Yeah. Yeah, because the Raiders are losing right now, they shouldn't be causing y'all no grief, okay? It looks like something like this. There's the normal functioning. It's called, all of us have baselines. We have baselines. It's where, you know, you're just going along, your normal baselines. If you're at normal baseline, someone speak to you, good morning, you say good morning, all right? Somebody say, what's going on? You speak normally, ain't nothing going on, or this is going on. That's your normal baseline. You're not up or down on the polar. But when things take place in your life, for example, with Job, the first thing that happens is shock and denial, whatever it may be. These are the first things that take place. Here are their responses. And some of these you need to let it resonate with you because you can understand what you're going through when things take place in your life. Number one, you want to avoid the situation. It's that Adam syndrome. When Adam and Eve had sinned, the first thing they did was hid themselves. They want to avoid the situation. God had to go looking for them. That's the natural, innate DNA of us as human beings. We want to avoid the situation. I don't want to be bothered with it. I can't deal with it. If you don't deal with it, you're going to have confusion. Confrontation, my brother, is a positive attribute that you ought to foster into your life. Don't be afraid to confront situation because you can head things off. No matter how bad the situation is, confront it. If you don't confront it, you're going to have confusion. The next thing that takes place, individuals become fearful or fretful. They start thinking of all kinds of things. What's going to happen? What's going to happen next? How am I handle this? Then there's numbness. And of course, blame. This is the first stage that you're entering in when something horrific has taken place in your life. Whatever it may be on any level, these are the normal characteristics that show up. The next one is anger. It all depends on what it is. And just scan through your own life and just look for the symptoms in your own life. No matter what it is, you will feel the emotional strain of anger provoking you. You become frustrated, anxiety, you can't sleep, irritation, you're just very irritable, edgy, embarrassment, and shame. Billy and Tyson and the rest of the eldership here, this is the reason why oftentimes we have empty pews. You preachers that are here and other leaders from different congregations, these are the telltale signs. These are some of the things that you look for. What happened in this person's life that is now taking them out of the pew from being in the presence of God? And that's what Satan does to us. He takes us out of the presence, Brother Davis. And what God wants us in his presence to vanguard our lives. And these are the very symptoms right here. When a person goes through these certain things, they're angry, they're frustrated, they have anxiety, they're ashamed, they're embarrassed, you start seeing them pews empty. That's where you as elders and men and leaders and brothers in Christ have to go look for these individuals who are going through this trial or tribulation. Then they hit what is called the bottom. This is the depression and the detachment area. And this is where it is critical. This is where you have to seize the moment when you see a child of God going through this, even in your home, with your wife, with yourself, with your children, whatever the case may be. You have to look for this because here they will start wanting certain things to anesthetize their emotions, to numb them, to take them away. My sister right now is going through that. I have to go to Texas in about a month to deal with a situation that this is where she is right now. She's just overwhelmed, lack of energy, helplessness, don't feel like living. Just at this point, had reached a point where my niece, her child, has taken the grandchildren and just have moved away and won't let her see her grandchildren. It's devastating her. And she's in a state of depression. Now she's gravitating toward pharmaceutical drugs. She's taking Vicodins and taking this on irregular basis or regular basis when she shouldn't be taking it. This is where she is right now. She's going for that normal Joyce and the normality of how she is to first shock, and then she's angry. Why did she do this, James? Why would she act like this? Why don't she let me take care of the kids and be there for them? Now she's at a state of depression because they're gone. You know what she's doing right now? She sleeps all the time. She don't want to get up. She's detaching herself from the other siblings. I have 4 sisters. Phyllis, Joyce, Phyllis, Peggy, and Audrey are dealing with this right now because she's detached from it. Then you reach a point where you start dialoguing and you start to bargain with certain things. And this is a dangerous area right here. This is where you as a husband, you as a father, you as a man have to be very aware of the individual that you're dealing with who feel like, I don't want to be strong. Because you start bargaining certain things. You start reaching out to others. And most of the time, when you reach out to others and there's no response, you start reaching out to the wrong individuals. You desire to tell your story. Have you ever sat with someone and they tell the same story over and over and over again? And then they know they've told a story, and they'll tell you, did I tell you this story again? They know they told a story so many times now, but they are rehearsing the pain of it. They struggle to find meaning for what has happened. They want to know why. That's a normal reaction. Why? Why did this happen? All right? Making a deal with God, promises to God. God, I promise you, if you would do this, I'll do that. And you can't promise God that way. You can't make vows to God that you're making out of emotions. You're making it out of fear. You're making it out of agitation. You're making it out of frustration. You're making it out of loneliness. You're making it out of the fact that you're irritable by something. You're embarrassed. You can't bargain with God like that at all, because eventually you'll stop talking to God, because you know that every time you say something, well, Lord, here I am again, talking about the same thing. You reach this point by the aid of a process where acceptance must come in. You start to explore options. You start to make a new plan, whatever it may be. You start ready to embrace. Many of you all, as men, you're going through situations in your marriages right now. And there's some things that you've got to accept. Some things that you got to accept. Now, in acceptance, if they are realistic, you got to work at them from a realistic standpoint. It's not going to be over overnight. Whatever you're going through, it's not going to be over overnight. There's no quick fix scheme for this. There's no pill that we can drop in the water and drink this and then go home. I wish it was that easy. But it's a process, because you're dealing with another human being. You're dealing with your spouse. You're dealing with relationship. You're dealing with emotions. And there's some things that you got to accept and understand that only God, and that's the great thing about being a child of God and a man of God, a servant of God and a child of his, is that God truly wants to help you. He wants to help you. But he has to help you self-actualize along the way of the process. Because if you don't self-actualize through the process, you will still make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Now, I was sharing with Gamel. He said, Brother Austin, why is it that now certain things don't bother you? Because I didn't like the pain. Did you hear what I just said? I like certain things that it brought, but the pain was just too painful. And I don't want to feel that pain again, because I can remember it as being just so tormenting. And I was asking God, just take this pain away. But the pain brought about self-actualization, because God was getting me in position where there were certain things that I need to change in my habitualness. And by going through the pain, I changed my whole habitual circumstances, because I didn't want to go that way. Didn't want to go that way. So regardless of how much it was alluring to me, and I don't want that pain again. That's acceptance. And then the blessing of that is that you grow in spiritual maturity to the point where it doesn't even bother you anymore. You know better. Now you sure enough do better, but you're doing better only because your growth has brought you to a point where you have self-actualized. You know who you are. You know what you're all about. And you know the importance of walking with the Lord. So this is important right here. Then through that process, you learn some things. You return to meaningful life. In other words, you have empowerment. You have security. You feel good about yourself. Life has meaning. You're no longer looking back on the situation with pain. You remember it, but you're never, ever looking back with the same kind of pain that you was feeling. All this is important for us as men to understand because it's all a process. In conclusion, acceptance should not be confused with healing. Acceptance only means that you accept things as they are. Yeah. Whether it's you're going through a separation or you're going through a divorce or your child is at a point in their lives or whatever the case may be, job-wise, economically, whatever the case may be, acceptance should not be confused with healing. Okay? Accepting only means that you're accepting this is just how it is. This is just how it is. I done everything I can do. I have been strong for this situation. I've given my strength to this situation. I've given my mind to this situation. I've given my emotion to the situation. This is just how it is. Now, Lord, help me to accept that. Help me to accept that. It doesn't mean that it's right or fair. Okay? Forget about being right. Stop talking about it being fair or not fair. It just means you are ready to move on. And from there is healing. Any questions, gentlemen? Any questions at all? Yes, sir. Let me see, can I go there? Right here? Okay. Well, it really depends on you. This is just a general, premise of human dilemma, but doesn't mean that you're going to go through the steps of this. Now, no, I hear what you're saying. No, I understand what you're saying. How many of y'all have lost? I know you told me you lost your father, right? When did you lose your father? 03. Okay. My mother died a year and a half ago. How many of y'all have lost mothers and fathers and relatives? Okay. We all are going to experience it differently. Now, for me, because I had sisters and I was in that preacher mode when my mother died, I went straight to the preacher mode. Straight to the preacher mode. And everything I had to do in preparation and getting things ready, preparation, make sure things, and I went to that total preacher mode. I didn't cry, I didn't break down until I got back home from Texas. And I was going through some pictures, and there was my mother. And I'm telling you, when it hit me, preacher, I didn't know what was going on with me. Miguel came in running in there. She said, "What's wrong with you?" And she saw the pictures there, and she just turned and left the room. We all are affected differently. That's what I'm saying. We are hit differently. So you may not go straight down. You see, because as men, there's that S on my chest. Now I gotta protect my sisters. I gotta be there for my sisters. They falling apart, crying. James Jr., what we're gonna do? Mama's gone. What we're gonna do about this? What we're gonna do about the house? I was just in a whole different state of mind. So I didn't go down like that. I went literally to another place, but that wasn't healthy either. Because I eventually had to release myself. I just couldn't release myself. Like you all know, you can't release yourself in front of everybody, even your loved ones. Some of our wives don't need to see us break down. They'll fall apart. Now, it's okay for them. But now you fall apart or just say, you know what, I don't feel like doing it. I'm not getting up. Why are you not getting up? I'm just not going to get up. You might as well go and get up because you ain't going to get no rest all day. So it's a little bit different than others, my brother. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, let me tell you all something. And working in the mental health field, and let me tell each of you all as African American men, do not fear, be embarrassed if you got to go talk to a therapist. Now, I mean that. I mean that. Because if you don't talk to a therapist, your therapy going to be the bottle. It's going to be pornography. It's going to be weed. It's going to be some woman. It's going to be something. It's going to be something where you got to find some release for yourself. All right? Don't feel that you're less than a man, that you minimize your manhood or who you are to go talk to someone. Believe me, I have done that. All right? We have sessions at the school where many of our teachers get burned out. They come talk to us, but as a mental health worker, clinician, I sit down and talk to our head clinician all the time and just tell her, you know, this is what's on my mind right now. You got to get out, because if you don't, it becomes toxic. It becomes poison and pollutes your mind. Don't be afraid. If you got insurance, use that insurance. I'm serious. As black men, you have Brother Jumper here, and I've been in many of his seminars. Look, we got to take care of our health physically, and we got to take care of our minds. The church is hurting and stagnated because the minds of men are just imbalanced. The kingdom need men that are balanced. I told you, we're fighting a battle out here. And we need good, strong, sound, balanced soldiers. Go talk to a therapist. If you got the insurance, go talk to a therapist. It's not going to hurt you. When I realize I don't want nobody to know, then don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody until after the fact. But go talk. Go talk. It'll bless you. That is an excellent question. I am a behavior specialist. And what I do is deal with a lot of mental health issues, bipolar, ADHD, ED, ADD, different other emotional trauma that is taking place with kids that's been abused. And there are clinicianal procedures systematically in place to diagnose certain things. If a child is bipolar. Now, brothers, that is totally different than Christian counseling. Completely. You're talking about something that is mental. When you start probing into the mind, and I'm just using the illustration that my brother here has brought up, when you start probing into the mind of a young child at the age of, this child was 11 years old, that started her own prostitution ring. And you start looking at her dossier and you realize that from the age of 2 to where she is at 11, she's been sexually abused by her stepfather. You got to understand psychologically that this child ain't going to come out of this by you telling her, just believe in God. Now, I don't mean, I'm not undermining God. Don't miss what I'm saying. But this child has been traumatized mentally because all she knows, and that the child I'm speaking of right now, we had to warn 3 teachers about her because her power of manipulation was so strong that she had induced one particular teacher to the point that he was getting ready to get fired. She would literally go and sit in front of him, and I would come in and I would always tell him, don't sit in front of her. I said, because you think that she's coming to get some help with her homework. She's coming to surmise you, to just add you up. And because not only that, she was physically beautiful. She was a beautiful young lady. Her eyes, seductive, everything. But she slowly was wearing him down to the point where I had to tell him, listen, you need to change class. She's getting to you. We deal with her on a mental state because we know her history. Now, when you start talking about Christian counseling, that's a whole different other situation. And they both go hand in hand. And oftentimes when I'm dealing with some members at the congregation who I know are on certain prescription drugs, and that they also are having some other issues, strongholds. I combine it together, and what I do is that I give them the biblical, scriptural, spiritual things that they need to do to adhere to, and then I say, now go talk to your psychological therapist. I don't try to do that myself because I'm not equipped to probe that far into that mind, and I won't do it because it's too daunting, it's too taxing to do so, because you're talking about history now of them being that way. So that's an excellent question, and a lot of our members have psychological problems. I got to the point. I know when my members have come in and they've been smoking marijuana, and they say they have a marijuana card, and they got to do that before they come in. And so I tell them now, I say, listen, you're offending other members by coming in here smelling like weed. I said, can you take that after worship? And yes, Brother Austin. And then I have members that won't take their medication. And I asked them, did you take your medication? I can tell when they walking around and they doing things. I can tell when they agitate. No, you got to do these kinds of things. Did you take your medication today? No, Brother Austin. Well, let's go take your medication. Where is it? I got it right here. I got it right here. Well, come on back. I'm going to give you a bottle of water. You take your medication. I have to change the way I preach. Because when I start seeing certain members getting up and walking and doing things, I know that there's something going on right now. All right? They need to eat. They got to take their medication. Because if you don't, you just are going to be dealing with a whole different kind of issue. And it's okay. I let them know it's all right. It's all right. You have to shepherd and pastor people where they are. And you got to let them know that you're concerned about not only their spiritual soul, but their psychological welfare. Did you take your medication? And yes, you did, Brother Austin, were they smoking weed? Listen, let me tell you something. That weed keep them calm during worship. I'm serious. It keeps them calm during worship because they got other issues going on. But I just asked them, but smoke it afterwards. Just smoke it afterwards. Just don't smoke it around here because you're offending members that don't understand that you got a clinic, you got a card, that you can have the right to do that. But just don't do it now. But smoke. Okay, Brother Austin, I'll smoke it when I get home. That's good. Smoke it when you get home. It do smell good, though. They don't need me sitting up lying. I didn't smoke reefer before when I was in the military. That's all I did was smoke reefer. It made me hungry all the time, so I know what it smells like. I said, don't smell it around me. Just don't do it around me. Smoke it at home. What's your address? All right, I'm just mess with you guys. I saw another hand. It was your hand, my brother. Yeah. You want to know if I got some reefer on me? Don't even let me know. It don't let you know.
What I was wanting to say, because you spoke about therapy and the need for therapy, and I don't know if you went through this in your training, but they even tell therapists, if you want to be a therapist, if you want to counsel, you need to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong. I want y'all to be ashamed of that. That's something that you ought to do for yourself. You'd be surprised. You know, I fought against getting a pedicure. Amen. But how many of you men in here get pedicures? Okay, I fought against for years until one day I went. And I said, you know what? That feels kind of good. It looks kind of good too. You know, so there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, sir. Well, you had come to that conclusion, see, and you had reached a point where obviously her being bipolar was too overwhelming for you emotionally. Because if you don't understand it, if you don't know really how to deal with it, then it will become overwhelming, and it imbalances your life. So you perhaps did the right thing, by just terminating that relationship, because you would have to forever be dealing with that. So you just got to use wisdom in these matters. And it doesn't mean that the individual is something, they are sick, anything like that. It just means that there's some things just going on that you have to understand. Do I want to deal with this? Do I want to tolerate this? Or should I just walk away from it? Just using good wisdom. Good question. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's just using good wisdom. And I'm saying that you shouldn't cry or should not cry in front of your wife. I'm just saying have balance. Have balance in your relationship where you're able to talk to your spouse about what's going on with you. And if it brings you to tears, that's okay. You just don't feel like being strong. And if you have the kind of wife, the kind of spouse that is a God-fearing woman, that is truly a child of God, I thank God for my wife. I thank God that she's a Christian. I thank God that she loves God first. Because there are times that I need to be checked. There are times I need to be corrected in many areas. And I thank God that she have the boldness and the fear and the love for God to come to me, and she'll tell me, I know you don't feel, I know you're tired, I know you're frustrated with the congregation, but don't do this or don't do that. And I listen to her, because I've reached a point, I've hit a wall where, this is what I'm going to do. And, we can just be stubborn. So it's good that your wife, it's good that your spouse, know your weaknesses and know how much you can take. Because trust me, my brothers, our wives, they study us. They study us. And they're wonderful students of our lives. And they can help us. So just have a balance. That's what I'm saying. Just have a balance in your life where you can do like Job. Woman, you talk like one of the women of the city. You foolish. You asking me to, but I'm saying you have to check them when it comes to certain things about your life as a child of God, your business as a child of God, and a man of God and head of your household. You've got to have that in place. You got to, because it's going to come down where you have got to make a decision for the welfare of your family. And you've got to have relationship with God to do so. You've got to do it. Yes, my brother. Now, there's some variables there. That's wide. What specifically are you talking about? Sure. Right. It's good question, my brother. Absolutely. Well, in my case, again, you have to understand, there's history, there is his story. I have a his story that God, I believe, allowed even my sinfulness and my errors and my mistakes to play a part of his will and providence for my life. He's God. He can fix it like that. And so I'm not going to sit here and say that way back then when I was doing what I was doing, I know that 20 years later, well, it's because of a good thing that God gonna do for me, and so I'm gonna continue to do this. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you that when I was doing what I was doing, knowing I was wrong, well, you know, I know God gonna fix this. No, sir. That was not in my mind at all. I am not that presumptuous about God, and if I was a fool. But at the point of being uncovered and not covering, at the point of causing pain and having pain, at the point of disappointing people and being a disappointment, at the point of having gifts and casting my pearls to swine, at the all I can go on and on and on to the point where I reached and said, you know what? This is not how God wants me to live. I didn't had all kinds of situations where I literally should be dead. All kinds of situations where I should have really been thrown out of the kingdom. All kinds of situations where I know that God should have taken me out. At a point, I reached and said, you know what? God, I'm sorry. Now, wherever you want me to be and however you want me to be, if you just want me to be an usher standing, I'll be that. But I got tired of being, feeling, living that way, knowing the truth. Now that's when it hit me. And as I indicated to you, I hit a ceiling when I was fired from Uptown. I hit a ceiling because there was so much expectation and so many other different things that was heaped upon me as being and becoming. And I bought into that byproduct, that hype of all of that. Well, when that didn't fall, when that fell through, and I didn't have anything else, and then I became married to a congregation that also had just split, then it became evident to me, you know what? If I'm going to continue in the ministry and have a ministry in God's kingdom, not just in the church, but in the kingdom, do kingdom business, not local ministry, but kingdom business, then there's some things that I've got to do in my story. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to be honest. I will be forthcoming. I will confront the issue in my own life. That way I can help somebody else. So that's when I did. Not when I was back there sneaking around. No. As I told the brother on yesterday, he asked me, did I have any kind of regrets? And I told him no. I regretted I got caught. Come on now. That's what I regret. I regret I got caught because now the game is over. And I was playing a pretty good game, I thought. But the game was over now. I've been exposed. And now not just my wife know, but everybody know. Everybody that looked at me, even those who would act like, well, I didn't know that. I knew that they knew. They were just listening for me to tell a little bit more of it. And I knew that wasn't the circuit, that wasn't the form or the format that God wanted me to do that. Because what they was doing to me was making me feel pity for myself. And I didn't need pity. I need to be rebuked. I needed to be reproved. And then I needed to be restored and reconciled and not thrown away. Now, I understand why the elders did what they did. Don't get me wrong. And I applaud them for that. John and Junior's right now, they love me to death. I love them. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them. They did the right thing as overseers of that church. But I had to come to a point. And it's obvious that God was sparing my life for a reason. And I was not going to waste that grace anymore. That's when I hit that, my brother. Yes, John. It's a good point. Good point. Yeah. 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 Empower. Yeah. we do have options, but there are options that must be, that must have prudency with it. And simply because of that very reason that you just said, that in many of our homes, if not all of our homes, that we cannot be relaxed, that we have to be vanguards, even with everything that's going on in our homes, even though we may have spouses that may be able to do this or be that, but yet and still there are certain things that we have to be vigilant about and diligent about. When I say today I don't feel like being strong, I'm not saying give up your husbandhood or your manhood or your God-right entitlementhood. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying realize that when you get to a certain point, that you have to allow God then to do the takeover. That's all that I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That when I go and sit down and say I'm tired, I'm weary. Now, sweetheart, don't bother me right now. I just don't feel like it right now. I'm not saying to her, I'm not still a husband. I'm not still the man of the household here. I'm not still your protector and your provider, and I'm going to cover you. But right now, I'm letting God work where I can't work. I'm letting God go where I can't go. I'm letting God use me even when I'm still. My stillness is an indication that I'm letting God walk around my life and walk around our home to make sure. And I believe that, bro. I totally believe that God will come in when he knows his men, his servants have reached a point where we need to just let him be God. And that's all I'm saying. Very good. I'm glad you brought that out. And I appreciate individuals bring out things further, because I don't want anyone to leave here thinking I'm saying just go home now and tell the wife I ain't doing nothing else no more. I ain't telling y'all that. I don't want no emails. I don't want nobody sending me no letters or anything like that. No, that's not what I'm telling you all. But thank you. I appreciate that, bro. Yes, sir. Sure. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sure. Well, see, you have a couple of things there, my brother. You have, first of all, the social aspect of fatherhood and sonhood, that you was not truly afforded the duration of that. So that was cut short. You say he passed away when you was young. So that sonship and fatherhood was cut short. Then you have the spiritualhood aspect of him being a leader, a child of God, a Christian, all those things that sons look to their father for guidance and direction to pattern themselves. So you didn't have that as well. So you do have a lot of vacancies that need to be filled. Now, I'm sure that there are men in here that also have lost their fathers. And perhaps what you may want to do is consult with your ministers and your elders about probably, networking with these individuals, that you can come in and talk about it. And I'm sure that by their stories and what they have to say, it would allow you an open forum. Now, it's not going to change the situation, but at least you have the opportunity to talk about it, to talk about it, to share your pain, and perhaps even cry, and it's okay. It literally, it's okay, but you need that release, and you need that outlet, and you need that platform to do that, because it's a different kind of platform of a situation that's affecting you psychologically and emotionally and socially in your life. So that's what I would suggest for you to do, that you can have that peace filled in your void. Yes.
Sometimes we as men need to realize that we are not machines.
Absolutely.
And therefore there comes time that we need to be re-energized.
Absolutely.
Even our Lord got tired
Absolutely.
and went off to himself and to be
Yeah.
rejuvenated.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just go on and on and on and on and on. And we're wondering why we don't have the energy that we have.
Yeah.
Why we don't have the same
Yeah.
concern that we had. There is a such thing as burnout.
Right. Absolutely.
And there is a time when we need to get away.
Yeah.
So that we can take a new look at
Absolutely.
what we're going through and reassess
Right.
our situation.
Absolutely.
And then come back, and then you come back with new energy.
Absolutely.
And new vitality.
That's absolutely. Jesus
But we
did that.
We need as men. There are times we need to take that time off
Absolutely. Totally agree with that.
so that we can be re-energized.
Excellent. I don't have anything to comment behind that, Brother Davis. Absolutely. Take care of yourself.
That's right.
Yes, my brother.
The Spirit would have it. It's an opportunity to let you know this conference is a function of, some of the men here in the leadership at this congregation knowing the need for men, boys in general. We started a monthly, every second and fourth Saturday morning, we meet in a group, in a men's group,
Okay.
a support group,
Okay.
to deal with those very issues.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, there's nobody there.
Right.
Man needs validation.
Right.
We have these needs, there's nowhere to go.
Right.
Your wife can only do so much and understand so much.
Right.
But certain issues only men can understand.
Absolutely.
And it takes, we all have heart. And you're not by yourself.
Right.
In your own congregation, you may have the same issues.
Absolutely.
A dozen folks, and we help each other get through these processes of thinking about ourselves, how we think about ourselves.
Absolutely.
How we interact with other people and how we act with the body of Christ. It's not a Bible study.
Right.
It's a real group therapy session with other men.
Sure. Sure.
And it's something that we have been blessed by 3.5 years. And that's 4 years. Almost 4 years, basically.
What days are they again?
Saturday morning, right here, across the street at our Sutro house, 7 a.m. sharp to 8:30 sharp. Second and fourth Saturday.
It's good.
Not every other week, only the second and fourth Saturday of the month.
Great.
So anybody's invited.
Okay.
It is. We try to keep things confidential.
Sure.
Talked about there, stays there.
Wonderful.
But the only thing to make it work, you have to commit.
Yeah.
You can't come every once in a blue moon.
Right. Right.
It has no effect.
Right.
You have to
Very
be
good.
there.
Very good. I applaud that. That's good. Everybody get that? It's wonderful. I applaud that. Any other questions? Let's bow our heads in prayer. Father, we thank you again for all that you have done. We thank you for your sons, your children. We thank you, Father, that you allowed us to just have this entitlement of having this favor and blessing on our lives. We ask that you would just bless each man that is represented here, their homes, their families, their children, their jobs, and every perspective of their life. Go with us right now, Father. I thank you. Thank you for this humbling and experience to just be used as a vessel, just an instrument to do your will. I thank you and praise you. Bless this ministry here. Bless the eldership. Bless this ministry of evangelists. Bless this membership that they may continue forward. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Can y'all give Brother Austin some love? All right. We certainly thank him for his energy. Well, we've come to the last mile of the way. We got one more session here for our evening service. He's going to speak. We invite you to stay if you can. We'll be starting at about 5 o'clock sharp, which is about 32 minutes from now. So we're going to We've already dismissed with a closing prayer. We just want to let you know that our service will start at 5, and if you'd like to stay, we welcome you to do so. Also, you can fill out one of those forms in your registration packet if you'd like to pick up the CDs. Those will be available in a couple of weeks or so after we get them all packaged up. So those are really all the announcements. We're going to turn the lights on and put the stage back together, and we bid you Godspeed.